Since many of you did not know how to work on Wk6 lab, I decided to go ahead and show you how to work on it, because you are going to need how to create VLAN in your project. So this video will take a little bit more time, but I would strongly recommend that you need to sit down and watch all the way through to make sure you understand how to create VLAN. I guarantee you that you will see that again at the end of the final project. So make sure you understand, okay? Alright, first of all, we need to create two VLAN in here for this, assuming that these are either two building or two separate rooms. And for PC1 and PC2 and PC3, they belong to VLAN 50. Well, PC10 and PC20 belong to VLAN 100. We are given the IP address of 192.168.50.0/24, meaning that this is a Class C IP address. Okay. Now, notice that the .50 and this is .100. So we also given another setup subnet 192.168.100.0/24. These are two separate subnet. Again, notice the .50, .100. So with these subnets right here, they are a total of 254 available IP address, or these are the valid IP address that can be assigned to any network devices. So it starts from 192.168.50.1 all the way through 192.168.50.254. Now for other subnet, this subnet right here, the .100 subnet, we have a valid IP address of 192.168.100.1 all the way to .254. So again, there are a total of 254 valid IP address that we can assign to PC, printers, hubs, switches, or whatever. Okay? Alright, so let's begin. Now first thing what we need to do, we need to create the two VLAN in this switch 0 right here. So click on that and CLI and enable show run. Notice at this point there's nothing much at all configured in here. So I need to create a VLAN. How do I do that? Comp T, then simply type VLAN and then give me the VLAN number. It can be anything, but we are asking to use 50. Now after we type VLAN 50, type the name of the VLAN. What are we going to name it? I'm going to name it student. I'm done with that one. Now we need to create another VLAN. Even though this VLAN 100 might not be using these switches, we still have to create it. Okay? So make sure that every time you create VLAN, you need to create all of those VLAN on the switches. So VLAN 100, name employees. Alright, so I'm done with creating these VLANs right here. So let's take a look at it. Control Z, show run. Alright, okay. Everything you don't see it in here, but if you do show VLAN, brief. Alright. Notice that we successfully create the VLAN 50, call it student. VLAN 100, call it employees, but we have not assigned any port to this VLAN at this point. Alright, let's look at it again. All of the ports starting from port 1 all the way to gigabit port 02 are assigned to VLAN 1 right now. They are currently assigned to VLAN 1, which is the default VLAN. So we need to configure those ports that connect to the PC to VLAN 50, because we want to make these two PC part of the VLAN 50. Again, notice right now there's no port assigned to VLAN 50. Nothing. Okay? Alright, so how did we do that? Well, let's go to the next step. Comp T, we need to get into the interface of that port. Well, assuming that I don't know what that port number is, if you hover your mouse on the top of the line, there you go, it will show you the port. So this PC1 is connected to FA01. How about this PC2? FA02. So I need to configure this port right here for VLAN 50. I need to configure this port right here for VLAN 50. Okay, so that way VLAN 50 can go through this link. Basically, that's what it meant. Alright, interface FA01, and then what do we need to do? We need to type switch port access VLAN what? VLAN 50. Okay, now the next thing, what we need to do, switch port mode access. Okay, then we're done with that one. Alright, now we need to do the same thing for the second port, which is the FA02, because this PC will be part of the VLAN 50. So interface FA/02 switch port mode access, enter, switch port mode access VLAN 50. Alright, Control Z, and let's look at it. Show VLAN brief now. Alright, notice that here we can see better right here. Notice that the VLAN 50 now assigned to port FA01 and FA2. So any device that connect to these two ports will be part of the VLAN 50. Basically, that's what it meant. So I'm done with that one. Now I need to do the same thing for this switch right here, switch 1. Okay, so enable comp T. What do we need to do? We need to create a VLAN 50 and VLAN 100. Student, the same thing like we did it before. VLAN 100. Name, employees. They are identical. Control Z. Show brief. VLAN brief. Here you go. This VLAN that we just created right here. We have not assigned any port to it. Now watch this very carefully. What port that we need to assign to VLAN 100? This PC10 and PC20, we want to configure them to be part of the VLAN 100. So we have to configure the port right here that PC10 connected to. Okay, alright, there you go. So PC10 will connect to the port FA0/10, and how about this right here, FA0/20. So we need to configure that port, FA010 and FA020. Okay, alright, comp T, interface interface FA0/1. We need to get inside of the port to make the configuration. Okay, again, we need to get inside of this port. That's interface FA010. Now what we need to do, switch port mode access, switch port access what? VLAN what? VLAN 100, because we want PC10 to be part of VLAN 100. Okay, exit out of this, interface FA020. Alright, and then switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 100. Alright, Control Z, show VLAN brief. Now notice that VLAN 100 now assigned to port FA010 and FA020. So any device that connect to these two ports on that switch 1 will become part of the VLAN 100. That's what that meant. Okay, alright, now the next thing, the next one that we need to configure is these PC3s right here. This PC3, according to the instruction, we want PC3 to be part of the VLAN 50. So what do we have to do? Well, we have to configure port FA03 as a part of the VLAN 50. How do we do that? Const T interface FA03 switch port mode access switch port access what? VLAN what? VLAN 50, because we want this port right here to be part of VLAN 50. So even we don't connect this PC, we connect the printer to this port, that printer will become part of the VLAN 50. So since it is PC3, the PC3 will become part of the VLAN 50 because we configure this port on the switches to be part of the VLAN 50. Okay? Alright. Control Z, show VLAN brief. Okay, there you go. So now, if you watch this right here, VLAN 50 assigned to port FA03, and the FA010 and FA020 are assigned to VLAN 100. So basically, pretty much we're done with that one. Now, the next thing, what we need to do, we need to configure the port for this line or this connection right here. This is, we're gonna make it a trunk link. Okay, a trunk link will allow multiple VLAN to traverse or go through the link. Basically, that's what it meant. So we call it trunk. Okay, now notice the port on this switch FA15, and I deliberately connect to FA15 on this port as well. So we need to configure both switches to allow VLAN 50 and VLAN 100 to go through this connection. We're going to make that as a port trunk. So how do we do that? Well, port trunk. Now, to configure the trunk link, we need to get into the interface always FA0/15, and then what? Switch port mode trunk. Okay, that's telling that, hey, I want to make this port right here, it's a mode, trunk port. This port right here is going to be trunk port. Basically, that's what that meant. Now, switch port VLAN trunk allow VLAN 50 and VLAN 100. So this statement right here, say that we will allow this trunk to be traversed by the VLAN 50 and VLAN 100. We allow VLAN 100 and VLAN 50 to go through this port right here, the port right there. That's what it meant. Okay, done. So I have finished configure the port on this side. I need to do the same thing for this side of the switches on this port. So I need to go in here and const T interface FA015. Alright, and I need to do what? Switch port mode trunk. First statement. Second statement, switch port trunk allow VLAN 50, 100. That's saying that we'll allow only VLAN 50 and 100 to traverse through this link. Now, if you do a dash like this, if you do a dash, meaning that all the VLAN 50 all the way through VLAN 100 will be allowed to traverse this link. So the dash mean includes everything in here. VLAN 50, 51, 52, 53, all the way to VLAN 100. Okay, but we're not going to do that. We just only allow VLAN 50 and VLAN 100. So I'm going to use comma. Alright, enter. So I'm done with configuration of the two switches. What I have done, I have created VLAN 50 and VLAN 100 on these switches. Then I assign the port that connected PC1 and PC2 for VLAN 50. I configure the port on this links right here as the trunk port, okay, and allow VLAN 50 and VLAN 100 to traverse to this port. I did the same thing for this size right here. Now, next thing that what I need to do is assign an IP address to this PC. PC1. Alright. Now, what subnet PC1 is using? 192.168.50. That is the subnet for the VLAN 50. So, what IP address I can use? Well, the range is from 1 all the way to 254. However, we already used 254 for the VLAN 50, so we cannot use that, so we have to use the other. Well, you have 1 all the way to 254. Let's use 100. Okay, now what is the default gateway? The default gateway is the IP address of these switches. That is the IP address of VLAN 50. I don't believe I configured that yet, but we can go ahead, do it right here, and we can go configure that 50.254. So I'm done with that. Alright, let's make sure that I have not configured the IP address for the switches. Show run. Yes, I have not configured any IP address for these switches. Okay, so what I need to do, I need to assign the IP address of 192.168.50.254 to VLAN 50. How do we do that? Config T interface VLAN 50. That's what we want to configure. Okay, that is the interface. We have to go inside of the interface to make any configuration. IP address 192.168.50.254. What is the subnet mask? Well, this is a Class C subnet, so Class C IP, so it's going to be a 255.255.0. Done. What's the next statement? Always, don't forget, no shut. We always have to type that. Alright, so I done assign IP address to the VLAN 50 for these switches. I need to do the same thing for this switch. Alright, interface VLAN 100. I need to get inside of these VLAN 100 in these switches. That's what I'm doing right now. And I need to assign IP address 192.168.100. That is the other subnet. Subnet mask 255.255.255.0. And what's in the second command? No shut. Always. Alright, I'm done with both now. Okay, so let's look at it. Show run. There you go. Notice that the interface VLAN 100 is assigned to this IP address. This is the subnet for VLAN 100. Okay, now, so I already done this one. Next thing, I need to assign IP address to this PC. We must assign IP address for all of the PC. 68.50. What should I use? Well, I already assigned 10 for this one. I already assigned 254 for this, so I can use all the others. Let's use 200. Okay, 192.168.50.254. That is the default gateway. Again, the default gateway is the gate to get into the network or to the internet, and that is the IP address of the switches. Okay, if you think about that, it will make sense. Assuming that it's a house and this is the gate, all of these are fence. To get out to the network, you have to go to this gate, and that gate is the IP address right here. Alright, now for this PC10, let's go ahead and configure that. 192.168.100. What IP address? I can use 10, 11, 12, 13, 20, 50. That would be valid. Now, what's the IP address of this? 192.168.100. What? The IP address of these switches, which is the IP address of VLAN 100. That is 254. Default gateway is right here. Now, Done with that. Same thing for this PC20. 192.168.100. Let's use 210. Okay. 192.168.100. 254. All right. Now this one is very careful. Notice that PC3 is part of the VLAN 50. So PC3 belongs to VLAN 50. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to assign the subnet mask of the subnet of VLAN 50. And what is the subnet of VLAN 50? It's right here. 192.168.50. Okay. So in that case, 192.168.50. I already used 10. I already used 254, and I'll use, I think, this one. What is this one? This one is 200. So I cannot use those anymore. So I need to use something else. 192.168.50. How about I use 60? That'll be fine. No problem. That is IP address that has not been used. 192.168.50.254. Again, notice that the PC3 is in this building, but it's part of the VLAN 50. So we use the subnet 50 and the default gateway. Okay, for it. Alright, that's all we need to do. Now let's see if we can ping PC1 to PC3. Okay, what's the IP address of PC3? .60. Okay. Alright, let's see if we can ping it. Ping 192.168.50.60. There you go. No problem. Now, can we ping PC2? Sure. That's .200. Okay. Alright. 200. There you go. Now, can we ping PC10? PC10 is .10, 100.10. Alright, .100.10. 100.10. No, we cannot ping it. Why? Because PC10 and PC20 are in different VLAN. They are part of the VLAN 100. So we cannot ping it. Okay? And that's all to it. Thank you.